Hi lovely people, I hope you're all okay and having a good January so far. So this month's video is going to be a little bit different from my usual ones because normally I'm out and about looking at nature, going to really gorgeous green places, but today I just wanted to talk about the prints that I have on Etsy because I don't think I've ever mentioned them before in any of my YouTube videos. So I'll show you what I've been up to. So I've done a collection of illustrations all about reintroduced British animals. So these are all the ones that I've chosen to talk about. So we've got the white-tailed eagle, the red kite, the pine marten, the checkered skipper butterfly, the wild boar, the capercaillie, the smooth snake, the sand lizard, the bittern, the Eurasian beaver, the natterjack toad, the pool frog, and the enigmatic ladybird spider. So here's a little close-up of them all. So I chose these animals in particular because I was inspired by an article by Rewilding Britain, and it was called Recovery Through Reintroductions. I'll link it down below. I just thought it was a real like interesting mix of species. Is editing Vicky here. I'm just doing this little pop-in just to say that during this video I talk about pine martens, and for some unknown reason I keep referring to the law when they became fully protected as being established in 1998, whereas in fact it was established in 1988. It's literally on the sheet that like the colouring in and fact sheets that I'm kind of reading from that I created. So I don't know why I'm getting it so wrong, but I just wanted to give you a heads up about that. I actually put text on the video as well to note that it's 1988, not 1998. So anyway, just a little heads up about that. So yeah, I'll let you carry on with the video, and I hope you enjoy looking at my fact and colouring in reintroduced animal sheets. What I've done is I've done this sort of main sheet, and then I'm going to do an individual sheet for each of the animals. So I'll show you what I've done so far. I'm about halfway through. So I thought I'd talk about the ones that I've done, and then when I've done the rest I can do another video talking about those. But one of them is the capercaillie, which is a beautiful bird, like beautiful colours. This part of its eye is bright red, this part of its chest is this like beautiful like iridescent green colour. Oh, Knuckles is just coming to say hi. Hello. There he goes. And yeah, these have a really interesting and sad history. So they were around Britain in the last ice age, and basically as human populations came in and started to cut down all the trees, the capercaillie's habitat declined. So they love being in forests which are mainly dominated by Scots pines, and these used to cover huge amounts of Scotland and also kind of run into England as well, but now they only exist in the largest quantities that exist in Britain are just in Scotland, and they're in a lot of fragmented areas, so the capercaillie don't have a large range to kind of live in and breed in. So I think the main reason why they have dropped in numbers so massively is just due to their habitat loss, so the loss of the forests. And in the 18th century they actually went completely extinct, and then they were reintroduced. I think they were brought in from Europe back into Scotland in 1830s, but due to the sort of continued habitat loss plus a lot of other factors such as predation by like pine martens, badgers, disturbances by humans and dogs, and also climate change. So in the spring they need lots of like insects to survive, and the chicks need insects, but if you know the sort of temperatures are off, like the insects might not be there when they're needed. And also they also have a lot of collisions with unmarked fences, and just kind of general low productivity. So there's like a huge amount of factors as to why they haven't done so well since they've been reintroduced, and now it's got so bad that currently they're just sitting just above 500, just 500 population wise, which is insanely low. So yeah, these guys are really needing help, but there is a huge amount of support for them. So there's a Cairngorm's Capercaillie project. So currently about 85% of the population are living in the Cairngorms. So there's this amazing project to try and help them. Also there's organisations, like a multiple amount of organisations, set out the Capercaillie framework. It's like a list of things to kind of actions to take to kind of bring them back from the brink. So there is things like making the unmarked fences really like visible, looking at the paths and making sure that they aren't too near the Capercaillie populations. So there's like less disturbance, and really important one, so raising awareness of the Capercaillie through community engagement. So just making the local populations aware of their importance and how much they need saving and how few of them are left. So yeah, the awareness thing is huge. And also there is talk of bringing more Capercaillie from Europe over to kind of boost their numbers. Also a huge one that I've completely missed out is planting loads more native trees to extend the woodland and also to connect the fragmented woodland so that their habitat area is a lot bigger, which they need, because when the chicks are old enough to kind of go off on their own, they don't want to kind of be in their like parents' territory. They need to find their own territory. So the more habitat they have, the better, basically. So that's the Capercaillie. So yeah, an awesome bird, and one that really needs our help. I can't believe when I found out how few were left, I couldn't believe it. So, oh, sorry if it's a bit noisy. We've got the storm going on at the moment, so it might be a little bit loud, sorry. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. I've just popped the light on because it was getting a bit dark. So the next one we're going to talk about is the red kite. So this is one of the greatest British conservation stories ever. So basically there was pretty much just one breeding pair left in Wales, in the whole of Britain, like that was it. So they were reintroduced back into England and Scotland in the early 20th century, and now there are over 6,000 breeding pairs, which is incredible. I actually grew up in the sort of Chiltern Hills area, and when I was younger I didn't notice them at all, but now when I go back and like visit my family down there, they are everywhere and it's incredible. And it's just their call is just, oh, I just love it so much. I won't try and attempt it, but if you know a red kite call, or if you just like, you know, find it online, yeah, it's just something really like ancient about it. So, and then the way they swoop and everything, and actually the Anglo-Saxons used to call them gled, which is where the word glide comes from, because they're just the way they glide in the air and kind of circle round. It's just so kind of mesmerizing. So yeah, really beautiful birds of prey. So most of the red kites that we have now again were reintroduced from northern Spain in 1989, and actually weirdly things have now flipped. So Britain is actually helping the Spanish red kites because they've massively declined, and we're giving some of our red kite chicks to them to boost their population. So basically they are scavengers, which is really important for ecosystems, because by eating the dead animals, which is known as carrion, they keep disease at bay. So they're really important for that. And it actually used to be a crime to kill red kites because they were so useful for rubbish management in towns and cities, like back in the day. So yeah, really important in terms of like helping out the ecosystem. Really beautiful, and it's just an incredible story that they've just been, you know, boosted so much, and they've really come back from the brink. So yay for the red kite. So the next one we're going to talk about is the natterjack toad. So this little cool dude is the natterjack toad. So these guys have suffered a dramatic decline in numbers over the 20th century due to habitat loss and fragmentation, and they even actually just went completely extinct in Wales. So today they exist in small scatterings of places across Britain, but mostly at coastal sites. So their usual habitat are coastal sand dune systems, coastal grazing marshes and heathland. And basically to bring them back, conservationists are having to clear lots of overgrown vegetation from these areas so that they can access the sites properly. And they're also kind of building sort of I guess fake sort of ponds, but they need basically shallow ponds, and a lot of them don't exist anymore, so they're having to kind of build these ponds for the toads that's where they lay their eggs. So they're really interesting, these guys. So they're known as the running toad, as they kind of usually run instead of walking or hopping. And during spring nights, the male natterjack toads, when they croak to attract the females, it's so loud that they can be heard from a mile away, which is crazy. So yeah, they're pretty awesome. So yeah, it's lots of work is being done to kind of bring the landscapes that these guys need to survive back to a quality that they can basically live in. So we need to just keep our eyes on these guys and hope that this all works and that their numbers increase. So yeah, fingers crossed for these. So the next animal I'm going to chat about is the pine marten. So during the Mesolithic period, the pine marten was the second most common carnivore in Britain, and it's basically gone from being the second most to one of our rarest. So by the early 20th century, they only existed in a few remote pockets of Britain, but mostly in Scotland. Now, because they had protection in 1998, that they basically couldn't be hunted, because that was part of the problem. They were really hunted, and also they had a lot of habitat loss due to the forests being cut down. So basically from 1998 onwards, their populations did start to recover, and they slowly spread into northern England. But to help them spread into the rest of England, there has been some reintroductions. So between 2015 and 2017, 51 pine martens were successfully translocated from Scotland to Wales. And between 2019 and 2021, 35 were successfully reintroduced into the Forest of Dean. And then last year, 15 pine martens were reintroduced into Dartmoor. And then this year, there are more to be reintroduced to Exmoor. So this is amazing. So it looks like they're having a really good kind of trajectory towards recovery. They are part of the weasel family. Oh, Nux has come to say hi again. They're part of the weasel family. They eat berries and eggs, but they're also a predator, so it helps keep balance within a woodland ecosystem. They even hunt grey squirrels, and so have potential to have a positive impact on red squirrel populations. So pretty good guys, and so cute and cheeky looking, and yeah, let's just hope they keep on recovering. So the next reintroduced British animal I'm going to talk about is the Eurasian beaver. So these guys build dams across streams, which basically floods the immediate area, and then that's where they build their beaver lodge, which is where they live. But the dams, overall, they reduce flooding, and they also improve water quality, and it also creates loads of different habitats for loads of different wildlife as well. So you've got obviously your wetlands, and then your ponds. But then because they're cutting down the trees to make the dam, there's also a lot of dead wood, and that helps a lot of animals and insects as well. And then it also creates open grassland, and then also scrub and trees start to develop. Sorry, Knuckles is back again. Also, the wetland creation also reduces drought. So in terms of helping kind of during climate change, when there is going to be more extreme drought and more extreme flooding, these guys, yeah, we basically need them on our team. So I was so excited this Christmas. So we've got family in Germany, and we went to visit them for Christmas, and I saw my first ever real life kind of basically a tree where a beaver had gnawed, and it maybe think there was maybe 2 or 3 trees that they properly started to have a go at. They obviously worked hard and then gone obviously like for a sleep or a break or whatever. But yeah, it was like the tree and then where they'd started to like nibble it like that and then down again. And for me it was just so exciting because I was just like, the beavers are here, and this is like, you know, their work in action. And I know that it feels a bit sad that, you know, a tree is essentially going to get felled, but it's kind of, you've got to think of it, I think, as part of like a larger picture and in more of like a bigger context, as it's like the tree is being sacrificed to kind of benefit the overall ecosystem to a much greater degree. So yeah, just really cool. So hopefully we'll be seeing more of that soon in Britain as these guys become more introduced. You've probably heard a lot on the news about beaver introductions. Hopefully more and more beaver introductions will happen, and they're known as like ecosystem engineers, because of, you know, all the movement basically that happens in the landscape when they're around. And so yeah, hopefully they can help do some more ecosystem engineering across all of Britain, which is obviously like where they used to be before, you know, habitat destruction and hunting made them go extinct basically. So yay for the beaver, and hopefully we will see more of them soon. So the last reintroduced British animal is the wild boar. I meant to say that I've got these little holes in some of the papers because I've been pinning them to my notice board in my little office space. So that's what that is, if you're wondering. So these guys, woodlands are their natural habitat, but as human populations grew and agricultural fields kind of came in, and to create these they needed to chop down all the forests. The boars lost a lot of their habitat, and also they were hunted, and they were basically completely hunted to extinction in the 13th century. They now do exist in our countryside again, but it's only because what's happened is farmers started to bring wild boars over from the continent to farm for their meat, and a few of them escaped from the farms. So there are some, you know, living in our forests freely at the moment, but Knuckles is back. Legally, they're not allowed to be reintroduced. So it'd be interesting to see if this gets changed, because they are a keystone species, which basically means that they play a vital role within our ecosystem. So they're kind of like soil system engineers. So they do a lot of different movement with soil. So they basically like carve out mud pools to wallow in. And this creates little mini wetland for aquatic plants and insects and pond creatures to live in. And it also creates a place for many animals to drink from and bathe in. And also when they're looking for food, they're like ploughing up the soil. And this basically clears a space for seeds to grow. And it also reveals a lot of seeds, so that's really good food for like hungry birds. And also it creates a lot of burrowing opportunities, because they're kind of breaking up the hard earth. It creates a lot of burrowing opportunities for a variety of insects such as bees. So yeah, they do a lot of things to help a lot of animals, and they are pretty awesome. So yeah, let's give a shout out to the wild boar. So I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about all these